What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what really moved it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did have another solid day, went up 1.65%, 29.32 the low, 30.42 the high, and 59.7 million shares being traded. So overall today was a pretty interesting day because there wasn't really that much in macro data. We did have one Fed speaker, Bowman, but nothing really came from that. I did see a couple tweets from Trump, but it was more oriented towards Russia and Ukraine, but nothing that really impacted the broader market in my opinion. During power hour, you saw a little bit of a push lower, and in my opinion, that's kind of last minute jitters associated to a lot of the big data coming out first thing tomorrow. And so ADP employment, this one's going to be a big one, right? Not just the weekly, this is for the full month, and this is for November. So ultimately, this is going to change to the narrative of this. So going into tomorrow, we have now a 87.2% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. Because of this data, I do feel coming out tomorrow, that could really push this to 100%, and then the market will be very optimistic. And flip side, if let's say ADP comes in horrific, and then you're going to have a lot of fear again. So it's all going to come down to the data, and most likely that's why again you had a little bit of a push lower. But there was a lot of abnormal buying that was being done after hours. So quickly popping over to the Darkpool, these are some of the big ones. Most of the large ones did actually occur, like I said, after hours, but 29.7, so someone just bought 1 million plus shares. The next big one was 4.78, 3.8, 2.6, 1.8. On the secondary market, you did see some transactions. This was kind of mixed. So throughout the trading day, you actually surprisingly did see a lot of institutions selling. But big ones for today, 51.7, 15.1, 8.6, 4.4, 2.7. So a lot of institutions have been kind of trading SoFi. So good to see. One thing that SoFi does have coming out tomorrow is that they are going to be kind of participating at the UBS Global Tech and AI Conference. Historically, SoFi always closes green on these types of fireside chats. So that's, again, something to kind of keep in mind. Don't mean to jinx it or anything, so hopefully it doesn't close red tomorrow. But nonetheless, when it comes down to that, that could be something pretty positive. And so you do have Chris, he's going to be the one speaking, and it's at 1:35. Aside from all that fun stuff, looking at shorts returned about 54,000 shares. And even looking at kind of the intraday, they were somewhat increasing, about 20,000 shares first thing. They returned a little bit, increased, so nothing too significant. So they've been rather kind of quiet. So maybe they're waiting for some big event, possibly data related, to really double down or potentially start to return more. But exactly 10% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 118.43 million shares overall being shorted. And it's been a while. I know there's a lot of good data up here that I don't really bring up on a daily basis, but just to put it in perspective, there is right now $3.44 billion worth of shorts out there. So kind of interesting stuff. Aside from that, looking at the options, we had 71 million in calls, 14 million in puts, and then 41% of all the options being done were bullish in nature. So for instance, if we pop open between this, so 135 and 140, there was about 4.3 million in premiums in total. So if we kind of look at this, orient it based on that, you can kind of see most were kind of the large ones were neutral. And the reason why it shows neutral is because it ate up both the bid and the ask. So obviously a lot of platforms can't distinguish whether it was more oriented towards buy or sell, but it was a 28.50 call, and it looks like it was a multi-leg transaction being done. So that based on the timestamp, there was 3 separate ones. So a 28.50 call, a $32 call, and then a 26 put, all kind of ranging for, looks like December the 12th and December the 5th. So let me know your general thoughts. It could be, in my opinion, probably just institutions hedging, or it could be very bullish and that they are actually buying a 28.50 call. So that would be pretty huge if you ask me, because based on the premium that they paid, which was $2, they need it to be at least 30.50 or above by this Friday to kind of break even. So maybe big money is feeling like SoFi is going to continue to move on higher. And if they do get included in the S&P 500 by Friday, then yeah, you should see quite a significant pop. So I feel like there's a lot of institutions and maybe even retail that is hedging for that to occur. But aside from that, from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 30 to 30.50 by the end of this Friday. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub kind of 29.50. So the fact that we're pretty much already there does mean that there is a lot more upside anticipated. Aside from all of that fun stuff, right now with it closing exactly at 29.51, it is trading right now between this R1 and the pivot. So 28.37 and 29.94 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. I gotta admit, SoFi is a absolute beast of a stock. It is a fighter. A lot of other stocks and kind of fintechs were lagging. So Upstart, I believe, closed red, and a couple others. SoFi just kicks ass and takes names. And one thing that's been, I think, the biggest difference between SoFi and a lot of other fintechs is this right here. Institutions actually buying it. Most stocks out there are largely getting influenced through algorithmic trading. When I do a video, for instance, even on this channel, so like Resolve, SoundHound, or even other YouTube channels like where I cover Lucid, it's pretty much the exact same thing. Algorithmic trading is moving the stock because of blah, blah, blah. Very little institutional transactions. When it comes down to SoFi, institutions love it. So that's definitely a positive thing, I think at least. But nonetheless, right now you do see a very nice V-shaped recovery. So it has successfully cleared that 50-day moving average, potentially with tomorrow and a couple of other data points for the rest of the week. Just watch for that 50 to hold. So that is sitting at 28.17. Aside from that, there really hasn't been that much in articles really talking about SoFi, but possibly tomorrow with the Fireside chat, you could see that kind of be stimulated a little bit more. Market position right here, you see a lot more willing buyers, and that's been building up quite significantly since the run that did kind of bottom, it looks like, on November the 21st. So things are amazing with SoFi. Because of the recent price action, though, you do see stochastic RSI around 71, so arguably overbought. Nothing really wrong with that. That happens with a lot of stocks, but that ultimately means a first sign of weakness. You could see some push lower and some consolidation, and that doesn't actually have to come from SoFi. The first sign of weakness, it could be on a macro standpoint as well. So all in all, SoFi is kicking ass, taking names. Let me know your thoughts and what you have been doing, whether you're buying, selling, holding. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.